everyone, it's me, Elena. If you've ever had your husband publicly humiliate you on your wedding anniversary, calling your grandmother's old photo album filthy junk and throwing it in the trash in front of the entire family, friends, and a live stream, only to discover later that inside were documents worth millions in forgotten investments, then this story is going to make your chest tighten and then make you cheer louder than ever. This is my revenge recall. How my husband, on our 15th wedding anniversary, mocked my grandmother's old leather album as old trash and tossed it into the garbage bin during the toast, while everyone laughed. How I disappeared with my daughter, rebuilt from absolute zero, turned my pain into a rival legacy brand, and came back to expose the truth at his perfect 50th birthday gala, with every document, every bank record, every lie projected for the world to see. I was 40 on that anniversary. Let's go back to the moment my husband tried to erase my grandmother's legacy forever. My grandmother was my everything. When she died, she left me one thing, an old, worn leather photo album she called the family vault. Inside were not just photos, yellowed pages with hidden envelopes, stock certificates, savings bonds, old deeds, notes from the 1950s and 60s when she invested every spare penny in companies like IBM, General Electric, and early real estate. She told me quietly, "Elena, keep this album safe. One day it will mean something." I promised I would. I never opened the envelopes fully. It was sacred. I kept it on my shelf, a quiet reminder of her. My husband, Victor, always hated old things. He wanted everything modern, expensive, Instagram perfect. When we celebrated our 15th anniversary, he insisted on hosting the event of the decade at our home. Hundreds of guests, live stream, professional photographer. I brought the album to show his family as a sweet story. During the toast, Victor took the mic. He held up the album, dusty, cracked leather with Grandma's faded initials. "Look at this ugly old thing Elena insists on keeping. Filthy, smelly junk from the past." He laughed, opened it, flipped through a few pages, wrinkled his nose, and dramatically tossed the entire album into the trash bin by the bar. The crowd laughed. My in-laws stared. The cameras caught every second. Later, Victor whispered, "It was just a joke, Elena. Mom thought it was funny." But I couldn't breathe. That album was Grandma's life. I felt erased. That night, after the guests left, I dug through the trash behind the house. The album was gone. Someone had emptied the bin. I cried in the car all the way to my sister's. Weeks later, my sister suggested we check the few pages Victor had pulled out before throwing it away. He'd left a couple of crumpled sheets on the table. We scanned them. My sister's eyes widened. "Elena, these are old stock certificates. IBM, General Electric, from the 1950s. We went to the bank. The manager looked at the documents, then at me, then back at the papers. He sat down. Hard. His hands trembled. "Ms. Elena, these are worth approximately $13 million today, with dividends reinvested." I couldn't breathe. $13 million. My grandmother's quiet investments, every penny she saved, had grown into a fortune. And my husband had called it filthy junk and thrown it away. But the album was gone. The rest of the documents, the big ones, were lost. I confronted Victor. "You threw away $13 million. Grandma's legacy." He laughed. "It was junk, Elena. Old papers. You're being dramatic. Besides, it's family money. We'll split it if we find it." I left that house and never went back. I packed one bag for me, one for my daughter Sophia, who was 12 at the time. Moved to a different state. Changed our names. Disappeared. The first 3 years after the anniversary humiliation were the darkest, most isolating time of my life. Sophia was only 12 when we left, a quiet girl with my grandmother's gentle smile, who never knew the house where I used to dream of growing old with her father. Every night, she asked the same heartbreaking question, "Mom, why did Daddy throw away Grandma's album? Can we get it back?" I didn't have answers that didn't hurt. I told her half-truths. "We're on a new adventure now, sweetheart. Just you and me." But inside, I was screaming. I moved us to a small, forgotten town 3 hours away, far enough to disappear, close enough that the scent of pine and earth still reminded me of Grandma. I rented the cheapest two-bedroom apartment I could find, a drafty place above a laundromat, with peeling wallpaper, a single window that looked out on a parking lot, and a mattress on the floor because I couldn't afford a bed frame. I worked 3 jobs at first. Mornings, cashier at a small grocery store, scanning cans and smiling at customers who never knew my name. Afternoons, cleaning houses, scrubbing floors on my knees while Sophia stayed with a kind retired neighbor who charged almost nothing and let her read. Evenings, waitressing at a diner, carrying trays of coffee and pie until my arms shook. I came home at midnight, smelling like grease and bleach, collapsed on the floor beside Sophia's bed, so she wouldn't wake up alone. We ate instant noodles, canned soup, whatever was on sale. I skipped meals so she could have seconds. I cried in the shower so she wouldn't hear. Depression wrapped around me like fog, thick, suffocating, unbreakable. Some days I couldn't get out of bed. I stared at the ceiling, wondering if this was all my life would ever be. But Sophia kept me breathing. She started drawing pictures, old albums, family photos, me and her holding hands, and selling them to neighbors for $1. "Mom, we can buy a new album again," she'd say, eyes bright with hope. It broke my heart and mended it at the same time. She reminded me of Grandma's love. She reminded me of the promise I made to keep the family vault safe. I started fighting in secret. I contacted a lawyer who specialized in lost assets and inheritance recovery, a quiet woman named Sarah who took my case on contingency because she believed in the story. We gathered what was left, the crumpled papers Victor had pulled out before throwing the album away, a few photos I'd taken of the contents years earlier, Grandma's old letters mentioning the investments. Sarah sent everything to a financial historian and a stock recovery firm. It took months of digging through archives, old records, and bank statements. The result was staggering: $13 million in forgotten stocks, bonds, and dividends accumulated since the 1950s when Grandma invested every spare penny in companies like IBM, General Electric, and early real estate. But the album was gone. The big certificates, the ones worth the most, were lost in the trash. Victor claimed he didn't remember what happened to it. The family backed him. "It was just old junk, Elena. Let it go." My own mother said, "Maybe it's better this way. You can start your own thing." I confronted Victor one last time. "You threw away $13 million. Grandma's legacy." He laughed. "It was junk, Elena. Old papers. You're being dramatic. Besides, it's family money. We'll split it if we find it." I left that house and never went back. I packed one bag for me, one for Sophia, moved to a different state, changed our names, disappeared. While the legal battle raged, I rebuilt in secret. I started a small online business, custom photo albums and memory books, using my graphic design skills. Every dollar went to legal fees and a tiny emergency fund. I learned asset recovery inside out, disputed claims, negotiated with banks, rebuilt my credit point by point. From ruined to 720. It was slow. It was painful. But it was mine. Year 3. The asset recovery firm located duplicates of most certificates in old bank vaults. The court ruled in my favor. The money was mine. Victor had to pay damages for destruction of property. He appealed. Lost. The money started coming, slowly, painfully. I didn't spend a cent on luxury. I invested every dollar wisely. Index funds, real estate crowdfunding, small business loans for other scam victims. I launched Forever Memories, custom photo albums with personal stories, ethical materials, meaningful designs. Followers grew fast. People loved the authenticity. Revenue trickled in. $50,000, then $200,000, then $1 million. I rented a small studio. Hired my first employee, a single mom who'd lost her family photos too. We grew together. I never stopped watching Victor. His perfect life continued. Vacations, new car, bragging about his perfect family. But I knew the truth. The money he'd spent was running out. Lawsuits were piling up. Debt collectors were circling. I gathered more evidence. Bank statements, court rulings, witness statements. I had it all. By year 4, Forever Memories was valued at $18 million. I had the capital. I had the proof. I had the plan. Victor announced his 50th birthday gala, the biggest event of his life, live-streamed, hundreds of guests, a celebration of family and success. I bought the venue, anonymously, through a shell company. The day of the gala, I walked in with my lawyer and a folder. The stage was set. Victor, in his designer suit, smiling for the cameras, about to give his toast. To family, to love, to the life I built. I stepped onto the stage uninvited. The crowd murmured. Victor turned. His smile froze.
Elena.
I smiled back. Actually, it's the wife whose $13 million legacy you called filthy junk and threw away on our anniversary. And today, I'm here to set the record straight. I connected my laptop to the screen, projected the evidence, old stock certificates, bank records, grandma's notes, court rulings, financial recovery reports, everything. The room went dead silent. Then gasps. Phones up. Live chat exploding. I spoke calmly. On our 15th anniversary, Victor threw away Grandma's leather album, calling it filthy junk. Inside were investments worth $13 million today. He knew. He lied. He tried to erase it, but he couldn't erase the truth. I turned to the audience. I rebuilt. I launched Forever Memories, meaningful, beautiful keepsakes. And today, I own this venue through legal acquisition. Victor's gala is canceled. Permanently. The crowd erupted.
Cheers. Tears.
Phones recording. Victor stood frozen. Security moved in, but this time, they were my security. The comeback wasn't an album. It was truth, undeniable, public, absolute. And it felt like the richest moment of my life. The 50th birthday gala was a spectacle of pure excess. Golden chandeliers dripping from the ceiling, ice sculptures shaped like champagne flutes, a 12-piece orchestra playing softly, and a room full of 250 guests in designer gowns and tuxedos, all there to celebrate Victor's perfect life. The venue was the same luxury estate where our 15th anniversary had been held years ago, the place where he'd thrown away Grandma's album like garbage. Live cameras streamed the event for friends and family who couldn't make it. Sophia stayed backstage with my assistant, coloring pictures, excited for the shiny party but protected from the storm. I wore a simple cream gown from my own line, elegant, understated, powerful. Cameras loved it. Guests asked about my inspiring journey. I kept answers gracious, smiling. The dinner progressed.
Toasts.
Laughter. Victor took the stage in his designer suit, voice warm. Thank you all for celebrating 50 beautiful years. To family, to love, to the life I've built. Applause thundered. He gestured toward me. Even my ex-wife Elena is here tonight, after all these years. It's never too late to come home. The crowd awed. I felt the old wound reopen. My turn. I asked for the mic. The room quieted, curious, polite. I have a toast too, I said, voice steady. I stepped forward. Sophia handed me the folder from backstage. On our 15th anniversary, Victor called Grandma's leather album filthy junk and threw it away in front of everyone. He said it was trash. He laughed while the cameras rolled. That album contained $13 million in forgotten investments Grandma made over decades, stocks, bonds, dividends that grew silently. He knew. He lied. He tried to erase it. I opened the folder, projected the evidence on the massive screen behind him. Old stock certificates, bank records, Grandma's handwritten notes, photos of the album, court rulings, financial recovery reports, everything. The room went dead silent. Then gasps. Phones up. Live chat exploding. $13 million? He threw it away. This is insane. I trusted him. He was my husband. But he used Grandma's legacy for his own image, while I lost my inheritance, my memories, my future. I left with Sophia. I rebuilt. And today, I'm here to reclaim what's mine. I turned to Victor. The album was mine. The money was mine. I've sued and won. The assets are restored. And you owe me damages for destruction of property and emotional distress. The room erupted.
Shouts. Tears.
Relatives turning to Victor. The stream chat went wild. This is insane. He threw away $13 million? Poor Elena. Victor's face collapsed. He tried to speak, voice cracking. Elena, you're exaggerating. It was just old papers. No, I cut in. It was Grandma's life savings. And now the truth is public. The court papers are filed. The money is coming back to me. And you'll pay for what you threw away. Security moved in, not for me but for him. The family stared in shock. My in-laws, cousins, aunts, uncles. All of them realizing the lies they'd believed. The comeback wasn't an album. It was truth, undeniable, public, absolute. And it felt like finally coming home. The months after the Gala exposure felt like the final layer of a perfect wedding cake. Rich, satisfying, perfectly balanced. Every tear finally standing tall. The clip of my appearance on Victor's 50th birthday gala went supernova. Billions of views combined, dissected on every finance and family drama podcast. Morning shows calling it the trash to treasure inheritance heist that backfired. Viral TikToks of Victor's face freezing mid-toast. Hashtag Elena claims trended worldwide for weeks. My brand, Forever Memories, valuation soared past $80 million in months. Messages came in by the millions. Daughters who'd had heirlooms dismissed finally lawyering up. Women who'd rebuilt after family erasure saying, "You made me check the attic before it's too late." Young brides sharing how they now keep their own vaults safe. Some stories hit hardest. A woman sent photos of her reclaimed family photo album. "Because of you, I stopped letting my mother-in-law call it junk." Another shared her daughter's first memory book designed with her grandmother's old photos. Generational memories, but honest this time. I read them during quiet evenings, Sophia asleep, tears blurring the sketches as I realized how many memories I'd helped preserve. Victor's perfect world collapsed faster than a house of cards in a storm.
Sponsors fled.
His social media empire, once untouchable, became a cautionary tale in etiquette classes. The 50th birthday downfall. He tried a comeback video, tearful apologies that got ratioed into oblivion. The family turned on him. No more perfect husband. He ended up in a small apartment, low profile, debt collectors circling. Sophia and I moved into a light-filled house I bought cash. Nothing extravagant, but ours. Every room had a piece of Grandma's memory, framed notes, old photos, a small wooden box I made myself. Sophia started designing her own little cards, proud of a mom who turned trash into treasure. Victor showed up at my studio 6 months later, no appointment, looking hollow in a plain coat. "Elena, you took everything. My party. My reputation. Sophia thinks I'm a monster." Was this worth destroying the family? Sophia was in the back room, cutting paper hearts for her first collection. For a second, the old guilt tugged. The husband who once promised forever. Then I remembered the anniversary laughter, the album in the trash. Every night I rebuilt alone while he spent Grandma's legacy. "No, Victor," I said, voice steady as a perfect fold. "You destroyed everything the day you called Grandma's life savings filthy junk and threw it away. I didn't destroy your life. I reclaimed ours from your carelessness." He had nothing left. I had the assistant escort him out. Years have passed now. Forever Memories is a $150 million empire. Custom photo albums, wedding invitations, meaningful keepsakes in every language, mentorship programs for women reclaiming family heirlooms. Sophia's a young teen, launching her own junior line, proud of a mom who turned betrayal into beauty. We live fully, bright studio home, shelves of paper and lace in every color, designs that tell real stories. My grandmother passed peacefully, knowing the truth. Victor lives alone, low profile. He sees Sophia occasionally, neutral cafes, polite. People still ask in interviews or comments, "Do you regret the exposure? Was it revenge?" I always give the full invitation. It wasn't revenge. It was reclamation. Reclamation of my grandmother's legacy, my worth, my future from someone who thought family meant throwing away the past. The moment I stopped letting him dismiss my heritage, I gave every wife, every keeper of memories, every person robbed of heirlooms permission to open their own box, fully, boldly, beautifully. If you're watching this and your family treasures, your memories, your legacy have been called junk or thrown away, hear me. You can escape quietly. You can start small, one paper, one lawyer, one boundary. You can rebuild until your story is undeniable, your name is on the design. And when you do, you'll realize the only trash was ever letting them throw away what you treasured. That's my recall. Not discarded. Just reclaimed, redesigned, and finally mine. Thank you for listening. If this hit home, share your favorite reclaimed memory below. Someone needs to know they can frame it back too. See you in the next one.